first rule of being an S-rank hunter is simple. If the contract scares you, don't take it. I should have listened. The job request appeared at 2:13 a.m. Encrypted channel, black priority seal. Only S-ranks get those. Even then, most of us pretend we never saw them. My phone vibrated on the nightstand like it was nervous. I woke instantly. Hunters don't sleep deep. Not after enough close calls. The message had no sender ID, just coordinates, and one line. Subject: classification unknown. Status: city-level extinction event. Unknown classification. That doesn't happen. Every kaiju gets cataloged, scaled, studied, even the weird ones, especially the weird ones. Unknown meant one thing: something had slipped through the cracks. Or worse, something wasn't supposed to be here at all. I sat up, heart already picking up speed. The air in my apartment felt heavy, like the room knew. Then the second message came in. A live feed. I tapped it. The screen flickered, static, distortion. Then the image cleared. A city skyline, dark, empty, silent. No emergency sirens, no evacuation lights, no drone patrols, just nothing. And in the distance, movement. At first I thought it was smoke rolling across the buildings. Then the smoke stood up. The shape unfolded slowly, like something remembering how to exist. Limbs extruded from shadows. A head tilted sideways, wrong, too many angles. The camera operator whispered, "It's looking at me." The thing froze. Even through the screen, I felt it. Pressure, like gravity doubled. The camera shook. The silhouette turned fully toward the lens. Not the operator. The lens. Toward me. The feed cut to black. My phone screen cracked. No impact. No drop. Just fractured. I stared at my reflection in the broken glass. And for a split second, I didn't recognize the man looking back. I geared up in silence. Combat harness, reinforced plating, pulse injector, blade sheath. Then I picked up my sword. S-rank standard issue doesn't look flashy. No glowing edges, no nonsense. Just a slab of engineered steel tuned to resonate with kaiju tissue. The moment I touched the hilt, the weapon vibrated faintly. Hunters say blades remember things. Mine felt uneasy. I strapped it on anyway. Fear is normal. Weapons don't get a vote. The transport arrived without lights. Black VTOL. No markings. No pilot visible. The hatch opened with a hiss. Inside sat 3 people. None of them introduced themselves. That's never a good sign. A woman in a gray suit slid a tablet toward me. "Target location," she said. "Containment failed." "Containment of what?" I asked. Silence. The man beside her spoke without looking at me. "We don't know." That irritated me. "You deployed it without knowing what it was?" Another pause. Then, "It deployed itself." That sentence sat wrong. Machines don't deploy themselves. Weapons don't wake up and go for a walk. Unless I looked back at the tablet. Satellite imagery showed the city, except the streets weren't streets anymore. They were warped, bent, like someone grabbed reality and twisted. Buildings leaned toward a central point, a growing dark mass in the city's heart. The scale indicator glitched repeatedly. Numbers couldn't agree on distance. The woman spoke again. "It's growing." "How fast?" She hesitated. "Faster when observed." I stared at her. "That's not how physics works." She met my eyes. "Tonight it does." We landed outside the city perimeter. No evacuation zone. No barricades. No military. Just fog. Dense. Thick. Silent. The VTOL hatch opened. The air smelled wrong. Not rot. Not smoke. Something metallic. Like lightning that never happened. I stepped out. The fog swallowed sound instantly. Behind me, the hatch sealed. The transport lifted and left. No backup. No overwatch. Just me. Classic. I rolled my shoulders and walked toward the city. Each step felt heavier. The closer I got, the quieter the world became. No insects, no wind, no distant hum of civilization, just presence. The city skyline loomed ahead, except it wasn't stable. Buildings pulsed, like they were breathing. My blade vibrated harder. My instincts screamed, turn back, abort, run. I didn't. S-rank hunters don't run. We dive forward, and as I crossed the city line, something noticed me. The fog pulled back. Not naturally. It moved aside, like curtains opening, inviting me in. And deep in the warped streets, something shifted, something ancient, something curious. And in my skull, a voice that wasn't a voice whispered, "Hunter," not a threat, not a greeting, recognition, like it had been waiting. For me, I tightened my grip on the sword and stepped into the city. That's when I realized this wasn't a hunt. It was a meeting, and I was already late. The moment I stepped fully into the city, gravity felt negotiated. Not heavier, not lighter, just wrong. Every movement had a delay, like my body was waiting for permission to exist where I wanted it to be. My boots hit asphalt that rippled like water, but stayed solid. The buildings around me leaned inward, their windows dark and reflective. Every reflection showed me walking a half second behind myself. I didn't look at them again. Hunters learn fast. If reality glitches, you don't stare. You move. The street stretched ahead, impossibly long. I knew this city. I'd fought here before, Class 3 Kaiju, armored brute, easy contract. The hospital should have been 2 blocks down. Instead, the road folded like paper. A corner that didn't belong turned itself into existence. And the whisper came back. Closer. Hunter. My sword vibrated in my hand like a struck bell. The sound didn't reach my ears. It rang inside my chest. My heartbeat synced with it, fast and sharp. "I see you," I said aloud, because silence felt like surrender. The air tightened. Something tall unfolded at the far end of the street. At first it looked human. Wrong proportions, limbs too long, shoulders bending inward. Then the silhouette peeled open like smoke separating from itself. Inside was darkness that didn't absorb light. It ate perspective. Looking at it hurt. My depth perception collapsed. The distance between us felt like it was breathing. Every instinct screamed, "Don't blink." So of course, I blinked, and it was closer. No footsteps, no transition, just there, 30 feet away. The asphalt beneath it sagged like melting plastic. My training kicked in before fear finished forming. Blade out, stance low, breath steady. Classification, I muttered into my dead comms. Habit. The thing tilted its head. "There is no word for me," the whisper said, except now it wasn't in my head. It was everywhere. Windows trembled. Streetlights bent toward it like flowers chasing a sun that hated them. I lunged. S-rank speed isn't human. It's engineered violence, muscle memory sharpened into instinct. My blade carved through the air with a hum designed to split kaiju tissue at a molecular level. The strike should have taken its arm. Instead, my sword passed through the silhouette like cutting smoke, and something grabbed my wrist. Cold. Not temperature cold, absence cold. Like touching the space between seconds. Pain exploded up my arm. Not injury. Recognition. My vision flooded with images that weren't mine. Cities collapsing without sound. Oceans folding inward. Stars blinking out like someone testing a switch. And standing in all of it, that shape. Watching. Waiting. I ripped my arm free and staggered back. My glove smoked. The metal plating had frost patterns etched into it. Symbols I didn't understand but felt older than language. The entity didn't advance. It observed. "You are louder than the others," it said. The others. I spat, shaking feeling back into my hand. The ones who tried. The ones who broke. My stomach tightened. "How many hunters did you kill?" The pause felt thoughtful. Kill is small. That was not comforting. The city groaned. Behind me, buildings shifted like ribs flexing. The street folded upward, forcing me closer to the entity. My boots scraped warped pavement that tried to climb my legs. The environment was obeying it. No, worse, the environment was it. I wasn't fighting a monster inside the city. I was standing inside the monster, and it was curious. I steadied my breathing. Panic wastes oxygen. Oxygen is survival. What do you want? I asked. The silhouette leaned forward. The world leaned with it. To understand the thing that hunts gods. My pulse stopped for half a beat. Hunters joke about being god killers. Marketing hype. Propaganda. But this thing didn't sound amused. It sounded analytical. You're not a god, I said. The street beneath me split open like a grin. The void below wasn't dark. It was busy, shapes moving, vast geometries rotating in impossible directions, structures that made my eyes water trying to process them. I am what remains, it answered. The gap snapped shut. My knees buckled. That glimpse felt like staring into a math problem that wanted me dead. And then, sirens. Real ones. Distant. Screaming through the fog. My head whipped toward the sound. Military convoy lights flickered through warped streets. Armored vehicles forced their way into the city, their shapes distorting like reflections in broken glass. Someone had sent backup, or reinforcements, or sacrifices. The entity turned its head slowly. Interested. More voices, it murmured. The convoy rolled closer. Soldiers dismounted, rifles raised, shouting commands I couldn't hear over the pressure building in my skull. I waved frantically. Get out, I screamed. Too late. One soldier saw the silhouette. He froze, his rifle lowered, and he walked forward. Not cautious, not scared, just obedient. The rest followed. Every single one. Their boots hit warped asphalt in perfect sync. The entity didn't touch them, didn't need to. They reached it and stepped inside. No gore, no explosion. They simply passed through the silhouette and vanished, like stepping through a doorway that refused to acknowledge them afterward. The vehicles emptied themselves the same way, metal folding inward, compressing into nothing as they touched it. The sirens died. Silence returned. The entity turned back to me. You resist, it observed. Yeah, I breathed. I do. Why? The question hit harder than any attack. Why fight? Why hunt? Because someone has to. Because monsters don't stop. Because if I don't, the world ends. I tightened my grip on the sword. Because I'm still here, I said. For the first time, the silhouette reacted. Not physically, emotionally. The air shifted with something like approval. Good, it whispered. And then it stepped toward me. The city screamed. Reality peeled back. And I realized this thing wasn't trying to kill me. It was trying to open me. And I didn't know what would come out. The moment it stepped into me, the world inverted. Not flipped. Not rotated. Rejected. My senses didn't shut off, they multiplied. Every heartbeat split into echoes. Every breath carried 1,000 versions of itself. The city peeled apart into layers, each stacked slightly out of sync like bad film frames. And in every layer, the silhouette stood, watching me from angles that didn't share space. Pain didn't come immediately. Understanding did. I felt my body like an object. Muscle fibers flexing, blood moving, nerves firing, all visible, all exposed. I could see my own thoughts forming before I thought them. And something else was there. Something inside me that had never introduced itself. The entity's voice spread across every layer at once. You are unfinished. My knees hit the warp street, but the impact echoed in places I wasn't standing. My reflection in a shattered window screamed while my real mouth stayed shut. What are you doing? I forced out. Remembering you. The words cracked something open. Images surged. A sterile lab glowing white. Hands in black gloves adjusting machinery around a younger version of me. Wires threaded into my spine. Symbols burned into metal restraints. Voices arguing behind glass. He's stabilizing. No, look at the waveform. He's interfacing with it. The younger me looked straight at the observation window and smiled, not scared, not confused, knowing. The memory shattered. I gasped, choking on air that tasted like electricity. "That's not real," I whispered. "It is what you survived." The city folded inward again. Buildings stretched like pulled skin, revealing a deeper layer beneath. A version of the street burned black and covered in symbols identical to the frost etched into my glove. They pulsed in sync with my heartbeat. "You're lying," I said, but the words felt thin. The silhouette leaned closer, and I saw its face. There wasn't one, just depth. Endless distance shaped vaguely like a head. Looking into it felt like falling forward forever. "You were built to touch us," it said, "but you were not meant to wake." The implication hit like a hammer. Not born, built. My grip tightened around the sword, and for the first time, the blade changed. The metal darkened. Veins of impossible color spiderwebbed across its surface. The hum shifted pitch into something that made the air recoil. The silhouette paused, interested. "You are adapting," it observed. "I'm surviving," I growled. The city convulsed. The entity's presence expanded. Shadows thickening, space compressing. The street stretched into a corridor of infinite doors, each opening and closing in rapid succession. Inside every doorway, something watched. Shapes too large to fit inside the frames. Eyes that didn't blink. Hands pressed against invisible barriers. "They feel you," the silhouette said calmly. The pressure hit me all at once. Not physical weight, tension. Hundreds of impossible things noticing I existed. My skull felt like it would split. My vision tunneled. An instinct, raw animal hunter instinct, took over. I swung. The blade didn't cut air. Cut between moments. The strike landed. The silhouette staggered. Reality screamed. A shockwave tore through the corridor, slamming doors shut in a cascade of thunder. The watching shapes recoiled, their presence snapping away like stretched wires. The entity stepped back. For the first time, felt smaller. Not weakened, just surprised. "You wound concepts," it whispered. I didn't know what that meant. Didn't care. I pressed forward. Every step felt like forcing my way through thick water. My sword left glowing scars in space itself. The silhouette raised an arm to block, and the blade sliced through. The limb didn't fall. It dissolved, not into smoke, into absence. The missing space screamed louder than any creature ever had. The entity recoiled. The city buckled. Cracks spiderwebbed through buildings. Gravity hiccuped. The sky folded into geometric shapes that didn't agree with existence. And inside the chaos, I felt something waking in my chest. A rhythm older than fear, older than training, older than me. The sword pulsed with it. The silhouette steadied itself, its form reconstituting from impossible angles. "You are becoming visible," it said. "Good," I panted. "Means I can hit you." The entity tilted its head. "No." The word hit like a closing door. "It means they can see you now." The sky split open, not like a tear, like an eye opening, and something looked through. My breath stopped, not because I was scared, because my lungs forgot how. The gaze was vast, curious, indifferent. It passed over the city, over the silhouette, and landed on me. Every cell in my body vibrated. The sword screamed. The silhouette stepped in front of me, shielding me from the gaze. "Not yet," it said to the sky. The eye narrowed and withdrew. The tear sealed. The pressure vanished. I collapsed to one knee, shaking. "What was that?" I croaked. The entity turned slowly. "A hunter," it answered. And for the first time, I understood. I wasn't fighting monsters. I was standing at the bottom of a food chain I didn't know existed. And something above had just smelled me. The silhouette extended a hand. Not threatening, offering. "You will die," it said calmly. "But you do not have to die alone." I stared at the hand, at the warped city, at my changed blade, at the truth clawing its way into my skull. Whatever I'd been before was gone. I took its hand, and the world shattered. The world didn't explode when I took its hand. Aligned. Everything snapped into place with a soundless click. like reality finally deciding which version of itself to be. The warped city flattened, the folding sky sealed. Gravity remembered its job. But I didn't go back to normal. I could feel layers now. Not see them, feel them. Space had texture. Time had direction. The air was full of currents that weren't wind, and my body moved through them like I'd always known how. The silhouette stood beside me, no longer towering. Felt proportional. Still impossible, still wrong, but no longer overwhelming. Because something inside me had risen to meet it. "They're coming back," I said. It wasn't a guess. The pressure was building again, distant, patient. Predators circling. That massive gaze from before hadn't left. It was just waiting for the right moment to lean in. "Yes," the entity said. "They believe you are unfinished prey." I flexed my hand around the sword. The blade answered. It didn't hum anymore, it resonated. A deep vibration that traveled through the air and settled into the bones of the city. Cracks in the asphalt sealed. Bent structures straightened. The environment reacted like it recognized authority. Not dominance, compatibility. "I wasn't built to fight kaiju," I said slowly. The realization settled like a final piece of a puzzle. I was built to fight them. The silhouette didn't deny it. "You were made as a bridge," it said. "A weapon that could stand where others dissolve." A weapon. Funny thing was, I didn't feel like one. I felt awake. The sky darkened. Not clouds, something pressing from above. The air thickened. Sound dampened. The city held its breath. The tear opened again. This time it didn't resemble an eye. It resembled a mouth. Impossible geometry unfolded in the sky. Layers of rotating structures forming something that suggested teeth without actually having them. Space around it stretched thin like plastic. And the presence poured through. It didn't descend. It arrived everywhere at once. The street warped under its attention. Buildings bowed inward. The silhouette beside me tensed. Not afraid, but focused. "Do not let it anchor," it warned. Too late. The thing noticed me. Pressure hit like a collapsing star. My knees bent, then locked. "No, not this time." I breathed. The rhythm inside me answered. The sword flared with impossible color, veins lighting up like constellations drawn in motion. The vibration expanded outward, pushing against the pressure. The entity in the sky reacted. The distortion sharpened, and it lunged, not with motion, with intent. The space between us vanished. Something vast crashed into my perception. Screaming angles, infinite weight, a predator that consumed dimensions the way fire eats oxygen. I swung. The blade cut, and for the first time, connected. The strike didn't slice flesh. It severed certainty. The thing recoiled. The sky convulsed. Geometry collapsed into itself like a dying star. A sound erupted that wasn't heard, it was remembered. Pain flared through my arms. My muscles tore and healed in the same instant. My vision split into overlapping timelines, one where I missed, one where I died, one where I never swung at all. But the blade stayed true. I planted my feet and pushed. The sword carved a line through the entity's presence, a glowing wound that bled absence. The sky mouth shuddered, folding inward. The predator tried to reassert itself. I stepped forward, again and again. Each strike wasn't strength, it was refusal. Refusal to yield. Refusal to be prey. The silhouette joined me, its form expanding, anchoring reality around the wound. The city stabilized. Gravity hardened. Space thickened into something solid enough to stand on. Together, we forced the thing back. The tear shrank. The pressure broke. And with one final swing, the sky sealed. Silence fell. Not the uneasy silence from before. Clean one. The kind that follows survival. I stood there shaking, sword dimming, breath ragged. The city returned to itself. Cracked asphalt, broken windows, quiet streets. Normal, or as close as it would ever get again. The silhouette stepped back. Smaller now, fading. "You are no longer unfinished," it said. "What happens now?" I asked. A pause. Then, "Now you choose." The implication settled in my chest. I could feel them still, distant hunters, ancient predators shifting in their sleep. They hadn't given up. They'd learned. And so had I. I'm staying, I said. The words felt heavy. Right. This world's mine. They want it. They come through me. The silhouette regarded me for a long moment. Then it nodded. Approval. Then you are not prey, it said. And it dissolved into the air. Gone. But not absent. Just elsewhere. I looked down at my sword. The blade was quiet now. Steel again. Familiar. But the rhythm remained inside me. Steady and patient. The city breathed around me. Alive. Safe. For now. Sirens echoed in the distance, real ones this time. Rescue teams, military, confused voices trying to understand what they were walking into. They'd never see what I saw. They didn't need to. I rolled my shoulders, feeling the layers of reality settle into place. Something out there still knew my name, still watched, still hunted. Good. I smiled and started walking, because I wasn't built to die here. I was built to stand where monsters end.